The chill wind of economic reality blows on us too, and we have to take another break. I've got two real corking subjects when we come back, which, like General MacArthur, we certainly shall. Join us. Welcome back to States of America, where I'm scrutinizing the Clinton presidency with Gary Hart, Betsy Wright, and Vin Weber. I thought we might talk about the other kinds of division in America. We've talked about the social and racial ones a bit, but there's a cultural divide, or series of divisions more properly. Some call it a return to ghettoization, people defining themselves as gay American, let's say, or Spanish American, or African American, and where therefore all politics has to take account of this. I was very struck by the way that President Clinton, when he was appointing his cabinet, said, "I'm against bean counting," as he called it, while apparently being quite a deft little counter of beans and making sure there was something for everybody. Is this, do you think, the American way? Do you think it's wise to have a spoils system of this sort?
Well, you can overstate the change here. I mean, there's been a certain amount of what you might call bean counting for a long time in politics. I do think that they've taken it to an extreme in this administration, but past administrations, particularly in the Democratic Party, which has been a more coalition-building party than the Republicans, you know, there are a certain number of seats in various parts of government for Irishmen and for Jews and for Italians, and by and large, we all thought of that as pretty good. That's the way that people moved out of the lower class or underclass and established role models to move up in society. The question is, how rigorously do you apply that model? Some of us look at the Clinton administration, we say a bit too rigorously. If we're going to try to directly mirror the population without regard to merit, you're going to end up with some people who should be able to serve in government thrown aside because they're white males with an Anglo-Saxon background.
In other words, it's a question not of recognizing that people are such a thing.
It's a matter of degree.
As of denominating them.
It's a matter of degree. Government should make some kind of an effort to include people that have been left out of society. How rigorously do you do that? And how many people that are of great ability are you going to exclude from government because they are not female or Hispanic or black? That's the question.
I don't think you need me to rephrase the question, do you, Betsy?
No, I don't. We have had 12 years now of very rigorous condescension about minorities and women in this country from the leadership in the White House. And we have a lot of ground to make up. Breaking new ground for power positions for women and minorities is not easy. And it is not done without clumsy, awkward stumbling. And we have seen some of that. The issue is not bean counting. The issue is not what kinds of beans are in the pot. The issue is whether you consider all kinds of people for all kinds of leadership positions. And diversity, I think we had a really hard time getting the American people on course of understanding what diversity was because of some of the awkward stumbling. This is not an easy thing to do. And a determination to demonstrate that among the best minds in this country on all issues are white men as well as women and minorities is not easy. And I commend the president for taking the risk and making the effort, even for the stumbling that has occurred, particularly in the Attorney General position.
Now, perhaps as an Anglo-Saxon, which is, after all, the origin of waspery, I mean, I'm in some position to say this. If I look at Vernon Jordan, who's black American, African American, or Ron Brown, black American, African American, two distinguished Clinton appointments, and at Zoe Baird, who's a woman, what I really see is what they have in common that I don't have in common with them, and it's not my skin color or my sex. It's the fact that I'm not a member of the class of corporate lobbyists and lawyers. I mean, in other words, I want to ask you the question, pluralism for whom? Who's supposed to be impressed by this kind of allocation of seating around the cabinet table? Well,
I mean, you're also going to have to look at more members of the cabinet with Henry Cisneros and with Donna Shalala and Secretary Pena. I mean, rich people are a part of this society too. And they are not monolithic either.
This is not exactly the rhetoric we heard out of the Democrats the last 12 years.
No, but they've been the only ones recognized. And so for you to come back and say, well, you've got some too, we have a lot of people who aren't rich also. And again, that's diversity. And you're only picking one piece of it, and it's the totality of it. I mean, listen, no one woman represents all women in this country. In fact, women will not be equal in this country until it is okay for us to be different from each other. And we have to recognize that among ourselves too. So no one woman selected as Attorney General or as Secretary of Energy is like all women. But they do demonstrate that among the experts and leaders in this country in those areas are women.
Senator, you looked as if you were about to break in there.
No,
Doesn't
There
strike
has
you as
been-
odd that there are 13 millionaires, I believe it's 13 millionaires in the cabinet?
I think it's kind of an irrelevant debate, but it is somewhat important how one got to be a millionaire. If you inherited it, generally you have one set of views. If you had to earn it and work for it, you probably, and you started at a fairly low level, you probably have a different set of views. But I don't know what that proves regarding anything we're talking about here.
Well, while we're staying with large sums of money, but moving quite abruptly to another subject, it's been announced that anything between 1.7 and, according to some figures, 3.2 billion American dollars are going to go to the restitution of the former Soviet Union, in particular to Russia.